It is time for another of my top 10 lists. Today, I am going to be bringing you my top 10 YA novels that I read in 2020. Welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Katrina, and usually I make bookish content here on this channel at least twice a week, but at the moment it is Vlogmas, and so you are getting a video from me every day. I will leave a playlist of my recent Vlogmas videos linked up above in case you have missed any, and in the description box below you will find all of my social media links, including my blog and my Goodreads. Make sure you are subscribed so that tomorrow's Vlogmas video lands right in your subscription feed. So before we jump into the top 10, two important things you need to know. These are in no particular order, and unlike my other top 10 lists, I have not limited my list to just 2020 releases. So some of these books were released prior to 2020, so these are my top 10 YA books that I read in 2020. So if I was limiting it to just 2020 releases, there are a few books that would have made it onto the list that I just felt a little ambivalent about. I wasn't entirely blown away by YA releases in 2020, with the exception of some of the books I'm going to talk about here. So I have added slightly older books to this list as well. Okay, first of all, we have Miles Morales' Spider-Man by Jason Reynolds, and I got this one. I feel like I might own a physical copy of this one, or I might have passed it on, I think. I got this one after absolutely loving Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and I absolutely love Jason Reynolds' writing, and so, you know, why would I not want to read this one? I don't know why I waited so long to read it, and then I picked it up thinking it was a graphic novel, but no, 'tis a actual full book. But I really enjoyed this one, and if you are even slightly interested in Spider-Man, or if you are already a Jason Reynolds fan, then this one is definitely for you. I loved it. Then we have a book that I have a video talking about this whole series. I was delighted to get my hands on a new release from these authors. This one is My Calamity Jane, which of course is by Cynthia Hand, Jodi, Meadows and Brodi Ashton, and this is the third in the Lady Janie series. And if you want to know my thoughts on the full series and which one this ranks as in the series, you can go and watch that video that I mentioned. I will leave it linked up above. Then this one, I don't know why I waited so long to read it, because I got a signed proof copy of this one at BookCon in 2019 when I met this lovely author, and this one is Smale by Brittney Morris. I was lucky enough to do this one as a buddy read with my lovely friend Jenna, and so thankfully we were able to kind of talk about our thoughts on this one as we read it. And I really had to slow down from reading this all in one sitting. Then we had a phone call where we chatted about this one for the best part of an hour and a half. So you could tell that it was a decent one that was going to make it onto my list. And this one does deal with some slightly fantastical elements in the world of gaming. And so you have to get your head around this game that she has created. I am not a gamer, and I struggle with reading anything sort of set within a fantasy world. And yet I absolutely love this one. I love the fact that we are getting a follow-up novel, and I am very excited, and I will definitely be reading that one ASAP and not sitting on it and waiting like I did with this one. My bad on that one. Then this one I love for quite a specific reason. This is more of a novella than a novel, but it was a 2020 release, so I wanted to put it onto my list. So this one is Love Creekwood by Becky Albertalli, and I really enjoyed this one. I listened to the audio. It was very short because I listened on double speed, and so it didn't take me very long to read it. And this one takes place basically entirely in like emails and instant messages and text messages and WhatsApp messages between the characters that we have met previously in the Creekwood world. So I reread Love, Simon and Leah on the Offbeat, or Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda and Leah on the Offbeat, in preparation for reading this one. And so I think if I'd read it as a standalone, it definitely wouldn't have made it onto my list. I think if you're going to read this one, you need to know the background of the characters. And so if you're not interested in having to read the previous basically 3 books in the series, I did not reread The Upside of Unrequited, and I'm not sure why, but yeah, you basically have to have been in this Creekwood world to appreciate this novel. So it's a bit of a tricky one, and I just sort of like think before I put it on the list, but I enjoyed reading it so much because I was so in that Creekwood world and so engaged with these characters. It was just amazing to read about them and get a little bit deeper into kind of where they are now and how they're interacting with each other. And so that's why I really enjoyed this one. I would probably recommend not doing the audio. I think just because I'd reread Simon and reread Leah on the audio, I was sort of stuck with that format. But I think I would like to read a physical version of this one and be able to see the text messages and the emails laid out before me. Then we have some UK YA. Yay! We have the second book in the Valentine's series from Holly Smale, and this one is Far From Perfect. If you are a fan of reality TV shows like Keeping Up with the Kardashians or any of the kind of like housewives reality TV, I don't watch those, but I think that you would be a fan of this one. And I always read these and go, these must be so much fun to write. I love Holly Smale's writing. I loved her Geek Girl series, and she really does kind of like give you a young adult novel, but that's kind of not aimed at your kind of younger voices, but not made older by the fact that it's got like tons of sex and drugs, and it's not an issues based book. It's still so much fun. It's a really good transition between middle grade and older YA, I would say. And it's just drama, but with real heart and real soul, and really taking that whole what we put out on the internet isn't the whole truth, and just because someone looks happy on their Instagram feed doesn't mean that everything is okay with them. You don't have to have read the first book to enjoy this one, but the first book was also awesome, so I recommend it. Then I have an interview with these next 2 authors here on this channel from Social Distance Book Fest. They were live. I got to chat with them. I am so lucky. And you can go ahead and watch that video if you would like some more insight into these books. The first book is The Year of Witching by Alexis Henderson. As I mentioned previously, I do not read fantasy. I do not read about magic and witches, but I absolutely loved this one. The witches in this one are just fierce. This is like creepy and spooky and nasty, and I was just here for it. It is so like fiercely feminist while still having this amazing storyline. I just sat down to read it and could not put it down. I just enjoyed it so much, and I don't know if you can tell, but the cover is all black and white apart from the blood spatters on it, and blood features really heavily in this one in many different ways. No spoilers here, but look out for it if you're going to pick this one up. If you're looking for something a bit darker and a bit spooky but also feminist with an amazing plot, definitely enjoyed this one. And then something on the slightly sweeter side, we have Salty Bitter Sweet by Mayra Cuevas, and this one is just an awesome book that will have you so hungry. The tagline is a fresh start, a broken heart, a menu of possibilities. I really love the fact that this book surrounds someone who has so much heart and ambition for cooking, and I really like when a character has a real drive for something and has a real passion for something, and it just comes across in the book. And yes, there are so many delicious sounding recipes. You need to read this one with snacks or a meal or a whole cake, because that is the only way you're going to get through it. And as I said, I have that interview with both of those authors and another 3 other authors here on this channel, so you can go and hear them talk about their books and just enjoy that whole hour's chat that we had. It was fantastic, and I'm just like feel very lucky to have chatted to them because their books have made it onto my top 10 of 2020. Then we have the latest book in the Once Upon a Con series from Ashley Poston. This is Bookish and the Beast, which is her retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and it is set around this world of comic book conventions, and I was just so happy to be there. We get to catch up with some of the characters from the previous 2 books, so if you don't want to be spoiled for those 2 books, read those before reading this one. But I did this one on audio, and it was just romantic and funny and just a good time, and you could just picture yourself on that convention floor letting this romance take place, and it's just, you know, queer and diverse and body positive and just everything you want it to be. And it was one of my most anticipated books for the year, and it did not let me down. Then we have Rules for Being a Girl by Candace Bushnell and Katie Cotugno. And this one was, again, one that I was really very much anticipating, having loved Candace Bushnell and Sex and the City, and then not read anything from Katie Cotugno until I read this, and then wanted to pick up other things by her. And this one takes place in a school where there has been allegations against a teacher. A teacher has been basically abusing his position of power, and this one made it on my list because it just filled me with so much emotion. This book made me really angry. It made me really disappointed and really upset. Speaking as a teacher myself, I was just so disappointed that somebody could use their power in that way, and then the fact that the school really did not take their duty of care seriously enough. I am all for teachers supporting other teachers, believe me, but in this case, the school needed to step up the fact that they had the care of this person and they did not take care of them properly. And this book just, blew me away. But yeah, Rules for Being a Girl, she knows them, she can break them. And I love the fact that it doesn't give anything away on the cover. I love the fact that even the synopsis doesn't give anything away. And obviously there are trigger warnings in this book, there are care warnings, so make sure you read the synopsis before going into it. But other than that, it was just a really powerful book, and I'm so interested in the fact that it was a collaborative effort. It doesn't read like 2 authors have written it either. I would kind of almost want to go back and read more about it. I haven't seen any interviews from the authors about their writing, and I should really stop filming this and go and see what they said about how they work collaboratively, because I'd be really interested to find out. And then we have a book that comes from one of my big kind of reading projects for the year, which was my Paige Toon rereadathon. You might remember from the start of the year, Paige Toon featured heavily in my TBRs and wrap-ups, ready for her new one that came out in May. And I knew I was going to like her YA series, but I didn't know I was going to love it. So I've included The Accidental Life of Jessie Jefferson, but really it is the whole Jessie Jefferson trilogy. Jessie Jefferson finds out that actually she has a very famous rock star dad in the form of Johnny Jefferson, who is from one of Paige Toon's other couple of novels and pops up in a few others, but he is from Johnny Be Good and Baby Be Mine. And this one was just wonderful, and it just had the added beauty of the fact that Jessie lives in Maidenhead and used to walk through a park that was basically behind where my house used to be in Maidenhead, and so I could kind of picture her going to the cinema and walking home and knowing where she was, and when she went off to the airport, knowing the route that she would have taken to the airport. That just gave it an extra oomph for me. But then when we go into the rest of we really kind of delve into the trilogy, we get to see what it's like for her growing up with this kind of double life, this famous dad out in LA doing his own thing, and then her life with her dad in Maidenhead, and what life is like just as a general teen in the UK. And I like that juxtaposition. I was really rooting for her because she's a very likable character, even though she doesn't always make the right choices. And I just wanted to know that everything was okay with her. And Paige Toon, I need a follow-up book. I need a fourth book in the series, or I need Jessie to pop up in your next adult novel, please, because I miss her and I want to hear more from her. And I did that entire trilogy on audio as well. I mean, you can tell from my wrap-ups throughout the year that I just leaned so heavily on audiobooks this year, so it is likely that most of the books I'm going to be talking about on these top 10 lists I'm going to have done on audio. But that is my top 10 YA books I read in 2020, some that were published outside of 2020, but still books that I enjoyed and loved enough to put on this list this year. Let me know what made it onto your favorite YA list of 2020, or if you read any that were the same as were on my list. I would love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss my next Vlogmas video, and hit that notification bell so that you are notified. I may still have a little live show coming up for you, so you don't want to miss that. I will be back with another video for you tomorrow, so I will see you then. Thanks for watching.